Hey everybody, we are back with another week one preview bonus with the legendary, literally legendary Rick Wolf, the Wolfman, fantasy Hall of Famer. We are grateful to have had him on this ridiculous ride that we've been on with Loserball. Hey Rick, how you doing?
Thanks for having me. A funny story about that. Like a lot of people throw around this, legend word, and I'm not a legend. It's a funny thing. So I just decided to try to make fun of it. So when we moved, I now live on Legend Drive in Sleepy Hollow, just so that I can sort of make fun of the fact that people throw that word at me.
I like it. I think you're embodying it. So just never move, and then you'll
That's
just be
it.
the legend on Legend Drive.
That's it.
Um, Cool, man. So I want to give a little background of the people who might be watching. Rick Wolf, as I said, whether he's a legend or not, has been in the fantasy space for decades. And when we first started Loserball, he wanted to have nothing to do with us, quite rightly. And somehow I pinned him down at dinner, and we started talking about documentary film of all things, which I do on the side. And somehow that piqued his interest. One thing led to another, and now. Not only is he part of the movement, he has coined the term "the movement," which is loser ball. So we are ever grateful. We're here in season two, Loser Ball 2.0. We're going to run through some picks with the expert and see how he uses his vast array of skills to figure out loser ball. So we have six categories to remind everybody. You go to loserball.com, you sign up. There's six categories. You got five choices of futility, categories of futility to pick from. We're going to run through it with Rick and see what he thinks. So the first category is most quarterback turnovers, and you'll see, I should say, you can win cash and prizes. First prize is 500 bucks. Second prize is 250. Third prize is a jersey of your choice. Free to play. Takes 5 minutes. There's really no excuse. And a bunch of people are in already, which is good. So you've got a
Yeah.
win percentage, which we've set at the beginning of the week, and then the odds fluctuate based on um, where people put their predictive sparks on. You get 1,000 sparks. You can budget it any way you want. You've got to put it in at least three of the six categories. All right, enough said. Here we go. Most quarterback turnovers for week one. We've got five doozies. And as I was noting yesterday, every one of these quarterbacks is with a new team. Joe Flacco is new to Cleveland since he was with Indianapolis before he was with Cleveland before. So every one of these is a quarterback has not played for them last year, which bodes well. Always bodes well for loser ball statistics. So here we go. We got Joe Flacco, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, my particular favorite, Daniel Jones, and Cam Ward. So Rick, what are you thinking? Who's going to have the most turn
Yeah.
this week?
I mean, I'm from New York, so I have seen the dumpster fire that is Daniel Jones for year upon year. He fumbles a lot too.
I like to call him the
So,
$160 million man.
okay. Yeah. But I mean, it's not going to be just interceptions for him. It's going to be fumbles. I mean, he may get some um Cam Ward could have a tough time starting in his first start against a tough defense like Denver. So that's more of a pick situation, I think, than a fumble situation, where I think Daniel Jones, will fumble the ball twice and probably have one pick, and you can put three turnovers in his bucket. For the other guys, I mean, Sam Darnold was pretty good. And Flacco, for however old he is, I don't know if you've seen him recently, but even last year, sometimes his accuracy is still pretty good. And what we're going to see from him, I think, is David Njoku is healthy, and when he's healthy, he's a very good 50-50 ball getter. So if Flacco can throw back shoulder or throw in front of him, Njoku's going to be able to get those 50-50 balls. You're not going to see a lot of turnovers there. I think Cedric Tillman also can go up and get them. And so, he's 6'3", I think, and he has hops. So I think it's less likely for Flacco to have them. Darnold's a good quarterback. I don't know why he's on this list, to be honest. So with a new team is fine, but he had a good run last year. And I think he starts his run. Does he is he even starting? Like I don't even know if
Who
he's
would be
starting.
starting over Darnold?
I think there was no, it's not Darnold. There's another quarterback who was a starting quarterback last year who's a second quarterback that I'm not thinking of right now.
I
But
mean,
I was
for me,
shocked to see that.
Sam Darnold still evokes Jet memories, and I think from that it's he's in there. The nice thing about Loserball is every week we're going to pick five different quarterbacks, five different receivers, running backs. We're just going to mix it up, so it's not always who you think is going to be the best in loser ball. But in this case, I got to go with Danny Dimes also. I think he is just he's clutch. He has what it takes.
Danny Pennies.
He beat out Anthony Richardson with a 48% completion rate. So he may have a 49 or what we call a 52% incompletion rate. So we'll see how he does. But I'm confident that Daniel Jones is going to and sounds like so you're pretty
When we get to the end of the season, you're giving the all loser ball awards for each position. I'm 100% sure that Daniel Jones will be in the conversation.
I don't know if he's gonna even make it through. I mean, having Richardson on the bench is definitely comforting for Daniel Jones that he could play throughout the whole season, but you never know. His immobility is will serve him very well in this
He
league.
he used to run well with the Giants actually until he tripped over his own feet or the 20-yard line. I'm not sure which one it was when he
That's yeah,
fell
one of
fell
the
yeah.
classic gifts.
Yeah, you could just have Loser right over that um video of him doing that.
What
It's
I
a
love
perfect
about Daniel Jones is also his expressions, or I should say his lack of expressions. It's really like you can't tell if he threw a touchdown, if he threw an interception, if the game has just been lost in a painful manner, but he's resolute. So, all right, moving on. Least receiving yards. We got two tight ends, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. Got Drake London, Malik Neighbors, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, five. For this one, we wanted to go with five, you know, receivers who are going to play and who are
yeah.
going to get yardage. And so we're picking the least yards here. And that's it made more sense to go with that than players who won't play.
Yeah, and for me, this makes the most sense that we have Drake London in the conversation. They're going to run the ball all the time, and he's only going to get get targets on third down, and so for me, he's going to get less targets than all these other guys. Bowers and McBride get 10 plus targets. Neighbors is going to get enough catches in order to be able to get 70, 80 yards. Drake London will be below 50 this week, and I think that makes him my pick in this category.
Interesting. So that's a good segue to Lee's rushing yards because you clearly will not pick Bijan Robinson
Absolutely
as
not.
your least rushing yards of the week. It's Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, and Kyron Williams. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and this is interesting, like because you have the injury to Stafford, and so his back is still hurt. He's gonna play. He's one of the toughest guys in football. I don't know how many shots they're gonna have to give him in order to get him out there, but hey, I like needles. They're going to they're gonna get him out there, and so Kyron Williams is a guy who can end up with swing passes instead, as they run a very fast offense. But I think it's Bucky Irving on this one. I don't think Bucky Irving is that good of a player, and I think Tampa Bay throws the ball so often and will be so successful throwing the ball that in late in the game when they're way ahead, when they're ahead by 3 touchdowns, they'll have Rashad White running the ball instead of Bucky Irving, so they don't get him hurt. And so for me, Irving, these other guys could all have 100 yards. So it's a 1-2 punch between Kyron and Bucky Irving. Maybe you hedge that. I mean, I don't know if you can play. I forget if you can play both.
You can
Um,
only pick one.
yeah, you can pick one. If I'm going to pick one, I'm picking Irving. So, but again, you don't have to pick all of them, right? So,
Right, you could decide like
yep,
this week in the next category. I actually opted out for most missed kicks. Even though I'm
yep.
regretting that because I feel like there's a clear leader in this one, also based on the preseason. So it was options are Jake Moody, Dustin Hopkins, Young Hoku, Tyler Bass, and Joey Sly. A potpourri of kickers.
Yeah, and so what, I mean, this is it matters who's going to be put on the field with the longest field goals. That's how I look at it,
Hmm.
right? And Young Hoku kicks long ones. He's pretty good at them. The other guys are not so good at them, right? So then they're in the play. Now, who's gonna put a guy out to kick one because the defense is going to stop them? Seattle might stop the defense. Baltimore definitely will stop the defense. And also you have the playing in Buffalo. So if I have to pick one, which I left this one empty too, because by the way, I don't believe that fantasy football should be played with kickers anymore.
Hmm.
Like, uh, I think right now Brandon Aubrey is better than every other kicker by a lot, and it really doesn't like when once you have a guy who's so far ahead of everybody else in a single position, then and everybody else is just all this exactly the same, right?
Last night, those kicks that it looked like he was kissing the ball, not kicking the ball.
Yeah, he's an incredible talent. Like I said, traditional drafts. I have 10 leagues I'm playing out, and I had 10 or 11 best balls. He's on every single team. I move up 4 and 5 rounds in order to make sure that I get him on the team, so I can just lock in a kicker, the best kicker by a lot, and then I worry about my seventh wide receiver around later. So, but for this one, I think people should leave it out. I don't think people should have kickers in any of their games, including this one. And I don't play this one. But if you have to play one, you play the one who's going to probably have to kick the longest field goal, and Tyler Bass might have to kick the longest one.
Interesting. I appreciate you pushing back on this category because we're also not sure. And the nice thing is we can switch up categories. One I've been doing a little research on is blown coaches challenges. So
Yeah,
which might be just a fun one to do anyway and see
you
if we could.
I think you've been talking about that since that that and
This is
Johnny Manziel. You've been talking about since the
exactly.
day we met.
This is my dream. I'm gonna get
Mark
Johnny Manziel to
Sanchez is the
host the blown coaches challenges segment that we do.
Yeah,
Um,
Mark Sanchez should be the spokesperson for this with the butt fumble.
Every week we're gonna have the classics, and maybe we'll bring on Daniel Jones because we do love him.
Yes, when he trips over
I just think
himself.
that Jake Moody, it's remarkable the guy still has a job. He missed 50% of his t kicks over 40 yards last year. So I don't know. I don't know how he does it. All right, on to the teams. Let's go with penalties. Most team penalties. Jets, Titans, Ravens, Texans, and Commanders. And what's interesting is, and I love getting your insights on this because you're so deep in the weeds on it, is not uh, just because you get penalized a lot doesn't mean you're a losing team. Like the Ravens, the
Yeah,
Commanders, these are all teams that had a lot of penalties last year. And yet they still somehow didn't pull it out for the
yeah.
victory.
For me, the penalties, most penalized and the penalties that are called the most, are the ones that surround the line. So, it's false start, it's holding, it's uh, offsides. It's those kind of penalties. So look in the trenches for these kinds of things for me, right? And then you look at the defense there again. What kind of trenches do they have, right? So for me, the Los Angeles Rams have a great front and linebacking core, which could make it tough for the Texans. So they're in the running, and especially with a 6.3 multiplier. But to me, Pittsburgh versus the Jets with a new quarterback. Um, Actually, let me take that back because here's the thing about this. Justin Fields was on the Steelers. He practiced against that defense every day last year. So maybe there won't be as many penalties because he understands the movement a little bit better. So I'm going to go with the Rams then. I'm going to go with the Texans against the Rams.
All right. All right. We will have to note that. I am personally a Jets fan when it comes to getting penalized. I think they're just a solid all-around team. They have what it takes. And even though apparently Aaron Glenn is now bringing referees out to practices in order to make it seem more real, that like don't have the stupid penalties. But anyway, I have
Don't ever don't ever trust a guy with two first names.
or a guy who's coaching the Jets.
Uh,
All right, last
like
one.
Rex Ryan, the two first names there too.
Oh yeah, there's a thing there. I guess yeah, I can't think of anybody else, but most points allowed. This is interesting. But I just wanted to say I put all of these into ChatGPT to figure out who they were going to pick, and
Huh.
I revealed them on our previous episode who they were. This one was interesting. So Carolina, Houston again, Cleveland, Jacksonville, and the Raiders for most points allowed.
Yeah, I mean, I think either Jacksonville or Cincinnati in this particular bucket. You get a better multiplier with Jacksonville. One thing I will say is people should not be sleeping on Trevor Lawrence. Um, it's a good bounce back year for him. Second year wide receivers are usually better than the first year, and Brian Thomas, I call him BT2, but Brian Thomas Jr. um was amazing last year. Maybe could even take a step up though. They've added more weapons to that mix, and then they have a backfield of two athletes who both can catch the ball. Brenton Strange was coming on last year, and the loss of Evan Ingram, of course, is something, but he didn't play much last year. And so that bad year by Trevor Lawrence is going to want to be made up. They fortified the offensive line. The defense is going to be better. I just think people are sleeping on Trevor Lawrence. And for me, I play DFS, I bet, I play in fantasy leagues, I play Loserball, I play fantasy spin, I play them all, right? I am stacking Trevor Lawrence with Brian Thomas Jr. in my DFS lineups. So
So
for
is
me,
that
Jacksonville is going to wipe the floor with Carolina, you know,
wow?
40, 41-10.
So you and ChatGPT have picked Carolina. Very interesting.
No, no, yeah, I'm picking Carolina for the most points allowed. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
I
And
teach ChatGPT all it needs to know about football. I do that on my Friday
I'm
nights.
gonna see where it sources from. I think the Wolfman is I'll have to check. But as you might if you're checking this out, the odds have gone down precipitously for the Browns. The Browns have the lowest odds, and they were. I think there's a lot of people think that Cincinnati's gonna have a field day with the Browns. That's where my heart goes. I'm with the Brownies, on pulling it out because they are a
Yeah,
clutch team.
I mean, they're, former dynasty, loser ball dynasty owners, and they're in the Jets are the real go-tos.
It's true. It's true. I don't want to make it too easy though every time, so we are going to mix it up. Um, what I love hearing is how you apply your traditional fantasy strategies to this. I think last year we learned a lot. We had really a lot of bizarre categories like pick sixes and block punts, and a lot of people who play fantasy just couldn't quite wrap their heads around it. So we re-engineered it, and it's nice to hear that you don't have to kind of learn something new. Am I right about that?
Yeah,
You think it's a little bit better?
well for me, but I'm an obsessive football fan, an obsessive fantasy player.
Unlike the
Whether
50 million other fantasy
whether it's baseball or
players.
football, and I apply those things to life as well. Like, I try to be a good teammate. I want to make sure I get the playmakers in my life the ball. So I apply all the same things that are football or fantasy football to life.
Good advice. Sticking to loser ball for a second, what advice would you give people who are just coming into this new concept?
I would say have the most fun that you possibly can, especially with the trash talking, because trash talking in a different way is really fun, and that makes you part of the movement. If you're just playing to win the game, you're calculating all these things, and then okay, you're playing a fantasy game, and it's a contrarian one, fallacy, if you will, right? Fallacy football. But this is different. This is a movement because the lexicon is different. And you need to get in the chat rooms, you need to get into Discord, you need to get on X and post your team and say, after you hit, tell why everybody else is a winner and you're the loser of the week. Like get involved with the community and the trash talking and have as much fun as you possibly can because fun is the only thing in life you can't buy.
There is a perverse joy in rooting opposite, the sort of subversive laughing. And we're all sports fans, so we're not rooting for people to stink, but it's going to happen. So we might as well
Yeah.
have fun with it. So, Rick, thank you so much as always. We hope to have you back, and we'll have other surprise guests during the season. May the worst team win, and we will see you soon.
Yeah.